Hello, hello again. Thanks for keeping caught up and working through this course with me. I'm really excited. I love hearing some of the messages that everyone sends me as they do their homework. So if you haven't been doing that, please, please, please message me and, just to hold that accountability so that I know that you're really working through the program and that you know that I'm keeping up with you. So, okay, today is really short and sweet. I know it was kind of a lot to just, jump in this first week with a lot of homework and the bath and everything. So this video is very short. The journaling might take you a few minutes. So we're going to make oh my gosh, the video shorter. Okay, so I'm going to quickly share my screen. And turn it to slideshow. Okay. So, whoa, it's not on the right page. Today, we're going to be talking about identifying negativity. So, do you remember when we were talking about what an aura is? I showed you that picture of some dark spots in the aura, or maybe somebody's aura that was dulled down. And so that comes from negativity in our lives and things that we're holding on to that we don't really need to carry. So the first step is being able to identify what is actually negative in our life. And then once we can identify it, we can make the decision of, do we need to work through some emotions, or do we need to get rid of the cause of this negativity? So, if you have a job that is just so hard for you and your boss just rubs you wrong, or you don't like the work in and of itself, and so you have negative feelings about it, like let's say you get frustrated, or you're kind of angry, or maybe you feel like not good enough because of this job. Well, once we identify that, oh my gosh, I have this negative feeling coming from my job, then we can decide, okay, do I need to reframe my job and my feelings around my job, or do I need to get a new job? Right? So that's what today is all about, is just identifying the negativity so we can decide what to do with it. Life is not all about just running away from anything that causes unpleasant feelings. Sometimes we are the cause of those unpleasant feelings, and we can work through some feelings, and reframe and kind of dig in deeper, which we'll do next week. And so sometimes it's not about getting the new job, it's just working through those emotions. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so like I said, we're just going to pay attention to what brings up negative emotions in us. Your homework asks some questions that will kind of help you think about what is causing these negative feelings. And really, I need to qualify this a little bit better. Not feelings really aren't bad, they're just different vibrations. Okay, some feelings make us vibrate a little lower than others, but it doesn't mean they're bad. So even though I keep saying negative feelings, it's just because in general, we know that we don't want to feel that all the time, but feeling them is not bad. It is good to feel all emotions. We don't want to block out any of them because they're telling us something, right? It's like, okay, you need to learn from this feeling. So I just needed to say that before we move on. Okay, so any feelings that are like something that's unpleasant and maybe you don't want to feel all the time. So things like anger, frustration, shame, guilt, grief, apathy, fear, desire, sadness, numbness. The list goes on. There's many more. But if there's something that you just don't like to feel, then I want you to pay attention to it. And like I said, the journaling will help you, but let's say you journal today. I want you to still pay attention for the next week or so, maybe even month, and really from here on out, and just pay attention to when you feel those things, and what is causing that. that feeling, okay? And so those feelings could be from many things. It could be from friends and family. It could be certain pages on your social media, like maybe just seeing super fit people or the perfect families, or, nothing's wrong with these. They're not negative pages. They could be really positive pages. But if it brings you shame or desire or sadness, then that is, I would write that down. Okay, this social media page is causing that. And then we can work on whether you need to stop following that person, or if you need to just work on something and figure out why that page is triggering you. Okay. So it could be watching the news. It could be certain music and media we're listening to. It could be your boss or your coworkers. It could be the actual job. Like, if you, I don't want to say anything that makes someone feel bad about their job, but if you were packing peanuts all day long or something, then one person could totally love that job, but it's not for you. And so it's feeling really negative to you. Okay. So the actual job, or it could be the people at your job. And then it could be a living situation. It could be your environment. It could be your food, whatever that feeling may be coming from. Okay. I want you to really just start noticing this week, because our aura is created by our vibration, right? We already talked about that our aura is created by our vibration, and each feeling we have has a different frequency, and that frequency then affects our vibration and aura. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So on this page, you can see like enlightenment and peace, joy, love. Those are at the top. Those feelings actually make our body vibrate on a higher level, on a higher frequency. And then as you go down, reason, acceptance, willingness, neutrality, they've actually measured the frequency of these emotions and listed them here in order. I'm sure there's more in a much bigger list that's more encompassing, but this is just the cliff notes so that you guys get the idea of what I'm talking about. And so as we go down, pride, anger, desire, fear, grief, apathy, guilt, and shame, those are lower frequency emotions. And so when we feel those low frequency emotions, our body actually vibrates on a lower frequency, which then makes our aura darker or have spots. Because let's say, okay, so you got angry and at someone and you didn't work through it. And so you're still angry at this person, 5 years later, and it's stuck because since you didn't work through it and really kind of get rid of that anger, let's say you're just like, I'm going to deal with this later. And so it's stuck. Like, let me see if I can move the camera. You just stick it somewhere like right here in your body. Okay. Because, there's a whole bunch of other books and stuff that talk about it, but our feelings and emotions are stored in our body. They affect our body. And, there's studies that show how we can get like certain, and I talk about this actually a lot more in my chakra balancing courses, but we can actually get medical problems or physical problems from the emotions that we're experiencing. Okay. So let's say we shove it down and we are storing it down here. And so that spot in our aura might be darker right there because it's holding on to that anger still, because it's vibrating lower here. I need to keep this camera down. It's vibrating lower here because that's where we, shoved that anger, but yet maybe everywhere else is nice and vibrant. That makes sense. So that's why we get like these dark spots kind of all over. It's because of something negative, and not that we are negative. It's just that maybe we were hurt and we haven't been able to work through that pain and that trauma yet. So that's why we're here. And we're going to be able to work through a lot of it. And I'm really excited for you so that we can vibrate on the peace and joy and enlightenment level of frequency all the time. Okay, so you get why these emotions affect our auras, right? If you don't, message me any questions that you might have so that I can answer them and then update this class and maybe explain things a little better. I just don't want to like keep saying the same things over and over. Okay, so yeah, so then we have to decide, once we've recognized what feelings we're feeling and where it's coming from, then we need to be able to actually try working through those emotions. And there's another class, another video later where we will actually talk about shadow work and inner child work so that we can work through some of these negative emotions or why we're feeling these things. So let's say, like we talked about the job, for example, if we decide that, you know what, I don't really need to work through anything. This is really my boss. Like my boss is so critical and negative and or something, then you would just decide, I'm going to now avoid that feeling and I'm going to find a bigger, better, more fitting job for me. But maybe the answer is to keep the job. And instead, we want to figure out why this boss is triggering you so bad. And that's where doing some shadow work and inner child work comes in play. Okay. So quick little video, just wanted to explain those few little things. So your homework is to answer these 5 questions and then message me when you're done. If you want to screenshot and show me your answers, you are so more than welcome to. I would love to see that. And I would love to respond to anything in those answers. But if you want to just keep those answers to yourself, that's great too. Just message me when you're done and maybe tell me if there's anything that came up for you or if you had any questions. So 5 questions are, today I have felt these 5 wanted and unwanted emotions. Okay, so 5 wanted emotions and 5 unwanted emotions that you maybe felt today. If you can't think of 5 of each, then give me 5 total. But we're basically just identifying emotions like, okay, today I felt excited for a meeting that was coming up. And I then felt jealous because my coworker that I was sitting by always has the cutest shoes on. And then I got really jealous because I never can afford new shoes. And then I got, let's see what emotion I felt. Scared later in the day because I lost my dog and I was really scared that he got hit by a car or something and I was worried. So that was an emotion. And then I was very relieved hours later when I found my dog. Okay, you get what I'm talking about, right? So you're going to kind of list 5 different wanted emotions. So things that you're like, I really like feeling relief and I really like feeling excitement. And then 5 emotions that you didn't want to feel, like scared. And I don't even remember what I used in my example, but scared, nervous. So, oh, jealousy. Those are some I said. Okay, so you're going to list 5 of those that you felt today. And then you're going to do the same thing for the month. You're going to think back to things that have happened this month that made you feel that they were wanted emotions and 10 unwanted emotions. Okay. And then you're going to explain what caused those emotions. So first just list them. And then I want you to go into like a paragraph, a short little blurb about each thing that caused them. So let's say you felt sad because you were missing your grandma or grief or something like that. So you're going to explain what caused that emotion as well. And then number 4 is, did you have a part in the feeling of the unwanted emotions? Okay, so now for number 4, you're only talking about the unwanted emotions now. Did you have a part in that? Like, for example, back to the boss example, if your boss is critical all the time, it's like, did I have a part in that? Like, maybe am I skipping steps at work and my boss has something to actually be critical about, and they might actually be a nice person if I would stop skipping steps. Or is my boss actually not even being rude, that my boss is just actually doing his job quite well, but every time he corrects me, I feel like he's being critical because I don't like to be told to do things differently. Does that make sense? So it's like, actually, I am triggered by him doing his job quite well because of maybe something that happened in my childhood or some belief that I have that makes me feel like no matter what, I can't be corrected. Does that make sense? So you're going to be thinking about what part do you play in that unwanted emotion? And this is not about taking the blame. We're not going to point fingers and like, well, it's actually my boss's fault, and now this one's my fault. It could be 90% your boss's fault and 1% your fault and 9% your coworker's fault, right? Like, we're not all going to go into whose fault is whose, but I want you to just dig really deep and just see, like, did I have a part in that at all? And I really think that we can pull up our part in an emotion on every single one. Okay. So as you're doing this, if you have questions, because we haven't really, started the shadow work yet, if you have any questions on this, please reach out to me and I can help you kind of figure out one. If you're like, really, I'm struggling, like, I'm pretty sure I do not have a part in this, let me know and I will help you figure that out. But sometimes you really don't have a part in it. And it's just best to then avoid that situation that keeps bringing up that negativity for you. And sometimes it could be 100% your fault, even though we're not passing blame, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you might have a huge part in it and you could shift and change, but it's still best to avoid it rather than work through it, right? So I'm not trying to get into all of that right now. I just want you to list whether you have a part or not. And then for now, the question number 5 is, would it serve you best to work through those emotions or to avoid whatever's causing them? Okay. And I'm not asking you to make any changes. In fact, please don't during this course. Wait till the course is completely over and the dust has settled before you do make any changes. If I'm like, oh, you really decide you need a new job, and I keep using that example, but you realize this could be anything that's maybe causing a dark spot in our aura. But let's say you really do need to shift and change something in your life. I would like you to wait till the course is over so that you can really make sure that you're doing what you feel is best. Okay. And so that's why we educate you now so that you can really feel into it later. Does that make sense? Okay. But still, we're going to write it down and we're going to give us your freedom to change your mind later for sure. But I just want you to just what comes to your gut first. Would it be best to work through it or would it be best to avoid it? Okay. Those are your 5 questions. Journal it. Let me know when you're done, and I will see you next week. Congratulations making it through a week of aura cleansing program videos. Okay, bye guys. Oh, it's going to take me a minute to clear out of here. Okay, there we go. See you next week.